right, folks. Welcome to Take a Warrior Fishing Inc. podcast number 3. I am Ken Wells, your Director of Warrior Relations and Services. And of course, with me, as always, is our president and founder of Take a Warrior Fishing, Mr. Dwayne Neary. Dwayne, first I got to say, how are you doing?
Much better. It was a rough 5 days there for a while, but I'm much better. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I think I caught what you caught because not as bad as you had it, but oh my good Lord,
Yeah.
like I wasn't out, but it was just the whole feeling of knowing that, you were going to blow your nose every 5 seconds, you know?
Yeah, I was in the bed for like 5 days and didn't want to move. And it didn't really hurt. I was just tired and my head hurt. And then, of course, it went through the entire family. Wife got it worse. Now one of my older daughters have it. So, yeah, it's a good time. Glad to be back.
Cost of expos.
Yeah, grow expos. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, if you come to an expo, we really appreciate your help. But if you're sick, you got the flu, we don't really appreciate you helping while you're sick. So just go ahead and stay home. We'll get you another time.
That's right. Absolutely. So we got some awesome guests that we're going to have on this podcast this evening. We have Mr. Rich Hastings, aka I call him the Fish Whisperer, and I'll talk about why when he comes on. And of course, our Director of Outreach and Public Relations, Kayleigh. And so that's going to be exciting. We're going to be talking to them. We're going to have some good banter back and forth. We're going to talk about why they do what they do for Take a Warrior Fishing. And I would like to just pause for a minute and just reflect, if you don't mind, on everything that's happened in the last 30 days since our previous podcast. I mean, Dwayne, a lot's happened.
Yeah. So trying to think, we met in when was it? February something, I guess. So since then we've been to Greensboro. And in Greensboro, we met numerous of warriors, numerous boaters, made some connections with partners that really like the mission of what we're doing. They want to help us out. We've confirmed our event and our saltwater event, so we got all that location confirmed. Got some good logistics confirmed. We've got our April events coming up, so we've been planning for that. I bet we've grown in the last 30 days, and I'm not a big social media guy, but followers on social media is big for us because it helps get the word out. But I bet we've grown by a couple
That's
hundred
right.
in the last 30 days just in followers. And then for warriors, I don't remember the number we had. Do you remember the number of warriors we were able to sign up from
I
since Greensboro?
know. Yeah. So since Greensboro, I've literally put 15 in the Warrior database since the Greensboro Expo, and we have more like ones and twos coming in every other day. So that's actually really
Yep.
good. That's a good number.
Yeah, it's doing good. And I'm excited to say that Food Line is partnering with us again. They just, I believe today, sent us some gift cards to cover the food expenses. So it's always awesome to have Food Line on board. So thank you, David and
Awesome.
Mark from Food Line for making that happen. That's always huge when we get them. And we've had a couple sponsors that connected us since then. We had Hannah's Heroes of North Carolina have connected with us, or Structural Integrity Builders has connected with us.
Nice.
Had a couple bait company, or not bait company, little small bait shops send us up. Best Boat out of Oklahoma has sent us a lure
Oh
or
yeah.
two, and they're sending another one. Amy Adams Baits out of oh man, sorry Amy, I forgot where you're out of, but it's not North Carolina. I know that. She sent us some last year, and where she's from. I'll have to look. I'll look it up. I'll know by the end of the day. And I do want to do a huge shout out because I didn't give him one last call, but Travis Bradshaw from Pigpen Guide Service in January at the Raleigh Expo, and then in February at the Greensboro Expo, donated two different crappie fishing charters. Not crappie as in bad, but crappie as in fish. And we were able to raffle those off. And between the two shows, I believe we were just the raffle itself, we brought in over $800 just from those two raffles. So we couldn't do it without Travis. So thank you, Travis, for doing that. And I apologize, I didn't give you a bigger shout out before, but Travis has been with us since a supporter. I met him when I started my charter business. He's very helpful. He's very willing to give me pointers. And at one time, I have to give him heck for this one. At one time, Travis was our largest crappie winner from our Sharon Harris event, our water fishing event, but he got beat last year. He got beat last year by a
Oh,
long
so
shot.
he's
So
So do I see a redemption coming up in the fall for?
Well, if I can get him out there, we always plan his
Okay.
event around his daughter's birthday, so we got to see if he can move his
Oh,
daughter's birthday so they can come
that's
join us.
right.
So, all right, I can
Yeah,
keep talking. Let's get to the good stuff. So thanks for letting me give an update on what's going on. But everything's going good. We're growing, and it's not about the size that we're trying to get. It's about the connection with the Warriors that we're trying to do. And that's when we say growing. That's what we mean. There's nothing
absolutely.
monetary. There's nothing that we're benefiting from. What we're growing is growing toward to get more Warriors. That's what we're trying to do.
That's right. We work with our community outreach. We build those community relations in our communities all throughout North Carolina, but it's also building our community within Take a Warrior Fishing by not just our volunteers, but by we talked about adding new warriors, maintaining the warriors that we have, and then getting our gracious boater that jump on board and want to be part of this and take our warriors out. So absolutely. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button, like, and comment on our podcast. There, if there's something you'd like to see on our podcast, or if you have a question that needs to be answered, just let us know, and we'll make sure to address it. All right, folks, and it is an honor to have this gentleman on our podcast. He is something that I think Dwayne can talk about numbers with as we go on. I'm definitely going to talk about my personal experience with Rich Hastings, and just an awesome contributor to Take a Warrior Fishing. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Rich Hastings. Welcome to our podcast. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well, Ken. Thank you for that introduction.
You're very welcome, and it is an honor to have you on this podcast. You have touched the lives of so many of our warriors since you've graciously volunteered your time, including mine. So thank you for that. And those memories are lasting. They're just embedded, not just in the photos, but in my memory. Um, so Rich, let's talk about Rich Hastings. Who is Rich Hastings?
Hold on, before we get to Rich Hastings, let me say something about Rich before we get into Rich talking about Rich. So I believe, hey Rich, thanks for coming on board.
Thank you, Dwayne.
So last year, yes sir, I appreciate everything you do for us. I think last year when Rich came up and our contactor said he wanted to help us out and get some warriors fishing, I believe Ken was one of the first, if not first, trips that you took, correct?
Yeah, I think he was the first.
I think he was, yeah. So Ken was the first warrior that fished with Rich, and thank goodness it went well enough that Ken stuck with us, and now he's part of the team. But one thing I just wanted to give a shout out to Rich because we were talking about the expo before you got on board with us right now, and how many followers we got, and we were able to get some warriors signed up. We didn't really talk about the boaters, but we got boaters signed up. And one of the questions that we would get, or one of the hiccups that a boater would or a fisherman think they would throw at us, they would say, "We don't have a boat." And every time we would hear that, we would say, "Well, come on over here a second. Let me show you something. You see this gentleman right here with his fish? He don't have a boat either." You know what he did? He took the most amount of warriors fishing last year in 2024. And that was 22 warriors this gentleman took fishing between mountain streaming, kayaking, surf fishing, and pier fishing. So you don't need a boat to take our warriors fishing. And every one of them look at us, you know what? That's amazing. So I just want to throw that out there. How amazing that was, what you do, what you've done for us. No, I mean 22 is awesome. Just the fact that you're willing to take warriors fishing with you, and not to mention you're a warrior yourself. So I just want to throw that out there. So let's let you talk a little bit. I just want to thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you do for us.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah, I don't know what it was, Dwayne. Something popped up on Facebook last year and asked for boaters. And it's like, well, I think I can take them fishing, right? Am I a boater? And we talked about it a little bit. And you said, yeah, let's go do it, right?
Yeah.
So who am I? I'm 65 years old, as you can tell, gray hair. I've been fishing all my life. I love fishing. I'm also a certified NRA rifle instructor and range safety officer. I've helped with the Boy Scouts, and right now I'm still working with Thermo Fisher Scientific out of Asheville. And I got to put a plug in for them because they give me some flexibility to take warriors fishing too, right? They have some groups within the company to support veterans, and I basically take credit for taking veterans fishing. So
Yep.
I don't know. I guess
Thermo
that's
Fisher.
it.
It's Thermo Fisher. Those are the folks that make thermometers and such, and the ear
Okay.
stuff, and
They make pretty much everything. Microscopes. Where I see them is on the border patrol or the customs place. They're always time checking for drugs, and they pull out this Thermo Fisher tester and do their test with it. I'm not involved in that product, but when you work for a company, you see their name whenever it flashes up.
They see them everywhere. Sure.
So yeah, I don't know. I've been doing that. And I do the Take a Warrior fishing just because it's a great way to say thank you to the warriors who are out there and they've returned, right? And I think back to when I got out of the Navy, I definitely wasn't a civilian when I got out, right? And you try to think about where you fit into the world, right? And well, fishing's a pretty easy place to go fit in.
Yeah, the fish don't care.
The fish don't care. Sorry, what was that question, Dwayne?
How long were you in the Navy?
I was in for 6 years back in from 80 to 86, stationed West Coast primarily, San Diego, Pearl, in Japan.
What'd you do in the Navy?
It's called as a fire control technician, right? So worked on the missile radar systems.
Okay, cool.
Which I really liked.
Cool.
I don't know. Then just thinking about it here, one other thing, right? Ken, when I took Ken out, him and I forget your friend's name, Dave, I think it was.
Yeah, Dave, that's right.
You two started out a bit slow walking through the water, and then we started catching fish. And then once you caught the hang of it, I mean, y'all were yanking fish out left and right. I think between the two of you ended up catching about 70 in 3 hours, right? We could have stayed and kept fishing longer, right? I mean, the fish weren't stopping for us.
Well, what's funny about that situation is when I connected with Rich through Dwayne, and I told this story, by the way, at the Greensboro. In Greensboro, I think it was yesterday, I went up there and talked to the Piedmont Saltwater Club, and there was a lot of questions. And same thing like Dwayne had mentioned. Well, if I don't have a boat, because a lot of these guys sign up to have membership so they can get on a boat and they become a deckhand, essentially, but they get that fishing experience. And I said, well, great. You don't have to have a boat. I said, we have, and you were up on there. I said, I got this guy here that, took 22 warriors out, bank fishing in the river and did not have a boat, and they caught fish. So with my experience with Rich, very simple, first time ever going through Take a Warrior, same thing. Post was on Facebook. I wasn't even part of this organization. I didn't know anything about this organization. So of course I jumped on it. Dwayne contacted me, and I thought to myself, I'm like, there's got to be a catch to this. Like, nothing's free. I mean, and he's like, you're right. Nothing is free. I just need some photos of your experience. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Well, no pun intended. I'm not trying to take away Kayleigh's joke, but I bit the hook on that one. So went out there with my buddy Dave up in Canton. We met in West Asheville, North Carolina, which is about a good 4.5-hour drive from where I live. So I knew deeper in the mountains you go, because I love fly fishing. The fish are there. The trout are there. The water's colder, and the further elevated you get. And we met Rich, and he's like, yeah, I got micro rods. And I'm like, micro rod? What's a micro rod? And he showed me. And we put our waders on, went there, and he showed us how to use it with a trout magnet. And he told me in about 25 minutes, he says, all these fly fishermen to our right and left will be gone. We're going to piss them off. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Sure enough, within 20 minutes, every fly fisherman to our left and right left, because we just kept catching them left and right, left and right. So yeah, that was and then I went again, later down the road. Another opportunity came along, and I went with Rich. But yeah, just an awesome experience. That's what I want to put out to these people. People like Rich allow our warriors to get on and have these experiences, because you don't know until you try. And so, Rich, real quick, I know you've emailed between Dwayne and myself. You have a lot going on that you're offering Take a Warrior Fishing and the Warriors. And could you name some of the events that are popping up on the radar here? We haven't pushed them out yet because there's so much time in between. But can you name a few?
Well, so again, trout fishing. I'm going to take warriors out on several trips. Trout fishing. We're still trying to figure out what the DNR is going to do for stocking and where they're going to stock, right? But I don't know. There'll be 3, 4, or 5 of those, just like you did last year, which is always fun. And Dwayne mentioned 22 warriors. Those 22 warriors, we weren't skunked once, right? Everybody caught a fish, which awesome. Is pretty good, right? So I guess to set the hurdle high for this year. But we're also going to, for the saltwater event that y'all are having in May, I'm going to do just a camping weekend for the camaraderie, right? We can go to a campground and people can stay a lot cheaper than going to the hotels, and maybe, have a fish fry in the evening on one of the evenings. We'll do that. Then in June I'm going to do a overnight kayaking trip on the New River. I know y'all that are closer to the coast, you think of the New River down there, but we have a New River up here in Boone. It flows up through West Virginia, near Boone, and it'll be an overnight going for smallmouth bass there. Sometimes that's hit and miss. Again, always catch something, but sometimes it's a lot better than others, right? But that's a lot of fun. And that's a primitive, paddle in campsite, so that'll be good. And then maybe another one in the fall, but I've not committed. I've committed personally to it, but I've not committed fully to Dwayne yet on that one, and Take a Warrior Fishing.
Hey, Rich, the New River, that's the river that flows north, right?
That flows north in through Virginia into West Virginia, eventually meets up with the Ohio River.
Yeah. One of the few.
We'll be in the headwaters.
That's one of the few, or the only one, or something. What's pretty cool about that? Something about north.
Yeah, I think it's the oldest river. They say it's the oldest river in the world, and it flows north. Yeah, I don't follow that too much. I just know it's nice fishing.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
So, hey, Rich, so with the kayak event that you said, the overnight one, I know when we were reading the emails and chatting back and forth on it, you're looking for I wouldn't say like experienced kayakers, but kayakers that kind of know what they're doing and for safety reasons. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think for the first trip doing that, it needs to be people that aren't on the water for the first time in a kayak, right? Okay, because we're going to be fishing. There's no rapids per se. I mean, it's ripples. It's but there's stuff that could flip your kayak, right? So you're kayaking, you're trying to fish because that's the most important thing, and then you flip over. You just got to be able to read the water a little bit. It's not difficult. I mean, if somebody wanted to go up there on their own, they can go up there and rent a kayak from any one of the shops, and they'll put them on the water and they'll go kayaking on that day, right? So I think that's just really it, is just trying to keep it the first time. Here's some people that at least are familiar with being on the water.
Sure. So if you were to give some advice to, let's do the 2-part question. First one, if you were to give some advice to someone that takes warriors like yourself out, what would that be? And then the second part would be, if you are a warrior that has never experienced the Rich Hastings experience, what would you say? Okay. That's a spotlight question.
Okay, right. No, those are 2 great questions, right? Can you just repeat the first one there so I make sure I answer
So
well?
first one, part one would be for like someone like you that, or someone that wants to do trips like you do. What advice would you give them? Because sometimes they're kind of apprehensive about doing it. But what advice would you give someone who's just starting out with take a warrior fishing, or is unsure about take a warrior fishing, but wants to contribute their time, resources, and get warriors on the water?
Okay. This, I'm going to explain something before I get real deep into it that'll help out, right? So you're my first trip, Ken. Okay. I was nervous. I mean, what if you got out there and you didn't catch any fish? I mean, I personally would have been disappointed, right? So I don't know you, and you don't know me, right? And we're out there
Right.
fishing, but sure enough, we got you catch some fish, right? And that was good, positive experience for both of us. My next trip was taking, I'll say, limited mobility warriors out on Hanging Rock Lake fishing, right? And so two of these guys showed up and they're in wheelchairs. Okay, one gentleman I don't think will ever be out of a wheelchair, right? I mean, he's there, and so we're catching fish, and what not a lot, but I mean it's going a bit slow. And then as we started catching fish, I looked over at that gentleman and he's sitting there in his wheelchair with his pole in the water, and I look down and his hook's like 6 inches out of the water. And so I immediately feel bad. Okay, oh man, here I am, and he can't even see, he doesn't even have his worm in the water, right? Well, I went and recast it out there for him, and about 5 minutes later, I realized it was out of the water again, right? And then my immediate thought was, oh, here again, I didn't get it in there for him. And then as I stopped for a second, and I realized, yeah, he had caught some fish, but it was way more than just a fishing for him. It was him spending time, the camaraderie with two other warriors that were out there, not me, but two other warriors fishing and telling their stories and having something in common with them, and just really feeling, you can just sense that between them, right? And those three warriors had never met each other before, I don't believe, but they really bonded over that. It was time to go home. It's getting dark and I'm ready to leave, and they're all sitting around their cars and trucks talking, right? It was like, okay, I'm leaving, we got to go, right? And they're like, okay, we'll be there. I left and they're still sitting there chatting, right? They could have been there all day, all night. Wow. For all I know, right? And I've met one or two of them. I've met two of them since then, and they both remember that. Since then I chat on, I got my phone, I text with one of them here, fairly often, and we've met up on some other events, right? And, so getting somebody that's out there for not just catching fish, just being out there. I mean, when we took you out there, there's no cell phone coverage. You're out there in the middle of nowhere.
That's right.
You have the woods, you have the river, and it's just a peaceful, soothing time. And then the fish are a bonus.
That's right. Now, for a warrior who is like and this part two of that question was to get the Rich Hastings experience. What advice would you give our warriors once we start posting these on our Facebook? What would you say to them right now?
Let's go fishing.
There you go.
I catch fish all the time. Sorry. I was trying to figure out how I can do this podcast while I was out fishing. Okay. And I spent a fair bit of time sitting there, can I? But no, there's no cell phone coverage out there. Well, okay.
That's right.
How close would it be to get a Wi-Fi service, so I can go hook up on Wi-Fi? And I sat there and I went through that a few times, right? And I thought I was going to go do it, probably at 3:00, I was getting ready to go out again and go fishing, right? And then I just realized, it'll be dark by the time we do this podcast, and, that'd be great, but you wouldn't be able to see me. You just hear my voice, right? And maybe people don't want to see me. I realize that, but it's just, it's get out and go fishing. It's fun.
That's right.
People, when they come, just let's go.
That's right. Well, Dwayne, do you have any questions for Rich before we go on to our next special guest?
No, but I do want to touch on something he said that is one of the cool reason, but it is a reason, but cool result of take a warrior fishing and the creation that we've created. And he mentioned that he stays in touch with a couple of the warriors that he took fishing. And I think you heard some at the Raleigh Expo, but there's been numerous occasions where a boater and warrior will report back and say that how great a time and how close they became, and to the point that they have become best friends since then. I know of two pairs that have connected via take a warrior fishing that have overnight trips together, have daily communication and connection. So it's awesome to hear that. So I'm glad Rich has shared that and has the same experience. And it's cool to hear from the boater side. Rich is a warrior. He's a fisherman, and he takes fisherman meaning a warrior fisherman. But we hear the boater side. I don't know if you heard Leonard Hodgson's wife Kim in Greensboro talking about how great of a feeling it was when they took their warriors fishing in High Rock on High Rock Lake, and when they got done, she said, "This is the best feeling I've had in a long time. We got to keep doing this. We're making a difference. Let's keep doing it." So we're not only benefiting. When I say we take a warrior fishing, we're not only benefiting the warrior, but we're also benefiting the boater. It's a great experience for the boater, and I can speak personally because I've done it. I've taken other warriors, and I'll never forget the very first one I officially did. And how when I texted my wife and said, I'm doing the right thing. This is freaking awesome. It's just you can have a terrible day, but you get on the water fishing, it's awesome. But you get on the water fishing with a warrior that appreciates it even more. It's just really an undescribable experience. So thank you, Rich. We can't thank you enough for what you're doing for us, what you're doing for yourself, the service that you've done for the country, the service you're giving back. So can't thank you enough, and looking forward to working with you even more, you and Ken, to get more warriors out. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, perfect. I'm glad to be here, and thank you for putting this organization together, Dwayne.
Yes, sir. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Rich, do you have any last words of wisdom before we depart ways?
Let's go fishing.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, everybody.
That's
Mr. Rich Hastings. I call him AKA the Fish Whisperer. Thank you for being on our podcast, sir. You have a good evening. And again, we look forward to the many opportunities that you will provide our warriors as this year continues. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Rich. Have a good night.
Yep. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Night. Bye, Rich.
Not quite sure how to hang up. I guess I did.
All right. Well, that was Rich Hastings. Again, just monumental numbers for someone that does not own a boat, Dwayne. I mean, just to have that experience, like you said, even if you don't catch anything, I'm telling you, if you've never been out in the mountains, and again, this is my perspective, and you're out in that cold water and it's a hot day outside and you got the woods around you and you're just, I mean, it's serenity at its best. It's so calming. It's relaxing. You get to be one with yourself, and you get to share that experience with others. And it's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I didn't realize, I forgot that you guys caught that many fish. I forgot all about how many fish you caught.
Yeah.
On that trip.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not bragging or anything, but I will never catch that many fish in my lifetime ever again. That's why I call him the Fish Whisperer, because he was like, you give it about 20, 25 minutes and we're going to piss off these, fly fishermen. And I'm like, whatever, and then yeah, we did. We actually really did. They're like leaving and pissed off. Well, our next guest is someone who shares our passion and enthusiasm for take a warrior fishing. I think her personality is very infectious, and her dedication to this organization is unwavering. And this person is our very own director of outreach and public relations, Kayleigh. Kayleigh, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, friends. How is everyone?
We're doing great. How are you?
Oh, just hanging out on a Thursday. I'm excited to be here.
That is awesome. Well, we just had Rich Hastings on, talked about his story and why he does what he does. And he definitely shared something that was important where, even if people don't catch anything while they're out on a trip, it's the fact that they're connecting with other people and they're sharing in that camaraderie, which you can only get, I think, sometimes during fishing.
No, absolutely. I agree. I'm glad he brought that up. It's not always about the fish. I know everybody wants to fish, but it's really just kind of about being outdoors and having somebody to hang out with and talk with. So
cool. So, Kayleigh, let's talk about what you do for take a warrior fishing.
Yeah,
because a lot of
absolutely.
people don't know you, and it's time that they get to know you, put a name with the face and a face with the name and what you do for us and the importance of what you do for us, because a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes of what we do as directors until, so it's good to just let them know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't have the fishing background that y'all have, other than the little bit of fishing that any country kid does growing up. Um, I I grew up with just that little fishing experience, a little styrofoam cup of worms out on the barge canal with your dad and mom. But I do come from a military background, and so that's kind of why I'm here. And that was important to me. So one thing that my parents have always kind of instilled in me and my big brother is the importance of showing up and giving back to the military community whenever you can. And so we owe everything to the people who serve our country. And as we all know, outdoor therapy works, whether you catch a fish or not. And fellowship and fishing really do heal. So that's why I'm here, with the intention to connect as many warriors to the outdoors and making new friends as I can, and to help spread the word about the amazing work that we do here at Take a Warrior Fishing. And so Dwayne put me in charge of community outreach, which is exactly what it sounds like, just bringing that awareness of Take a Warrior Fishing to the community. And one of the unique things I think about Take a Warrior Fishing is that we take people fishing everywhere. So everywhere is our community. And so I'm trying to really empower us and encourage us to spread the word in all of our communities. And Dwayne said, "Do your thing, girl." So I did, and I think I've filled up the calendar quite a bit
Yeah,
every time I text Dwayne.
that's
He's
right.
always like, "Girl, we do not have room on the calendar for this." So, but that's what we're trying to do, right? Fill our calendar and get the word out there about us. So we've got a couple of
Awesome.
big events coming up that I'm excited to share.
Well, let's share it. What are these events that we're
Yeah.
talking about?
So it's March 6th, and I feel like we've already been through an entire month of events. I'm sure you talked about some of the expos that we've done already. But coming up here in March, we have a profit share at Red Robin in Jacksonville, which is basically just you show up to this place and eat and drink or whatever you were going to do, and they'll give us a percentage of those sales back as a donation. So we'll be doing that on the 13th of March, which is next Thursday, at the Red Robin in Jacksonville. So if you're making dinner plans for next week, make sure you pencil that in out in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And then on the 15th, Dwayne is going to be in the St. Patty's Day parade at Emerald Isle with a bunch of warriors and other Take a Warrior Fishing folks, which I know he's very excited about being in the St. Patty's Day parade there in Emerald Isle. So be looking out for them there. Um, and then on the 19th, which is a Wednesday, out here in Wilmington, we'll be doing a networking event. It's called Port City Young Professionals, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And they feature a nonprofit every month at their event. So I'll be there representing Take a Warrior Fishing with Cito of Wrightsville Beach. I met those guys today. They were really welcoming and super excellent. So I'm excited to share that.
It's awesome.
Then that weekend, the
Wow.
22nd, I believe, I don't even know what day that is. Yep, the 22nd to the 23rd, y'all are going to be at the Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo.
We will
So
be there. That's right.
I'm pumped for that. That's going to be a good
It's
one.
going to
I've
be
seen a lot
fun.
of traction on their socials about all the people that are going to be there. So,
And
and
what
then
makes that expo?
lastly,
Oh, I'm sorry.
nope, go ahead, talk about the expo.
Well, what I was going to say real quick is what makes that expo unique is it's not like the other expos that we've been to where we start on a Friday and we end on a Sunday. This is a
Yeah,
2-day expo,
2
which
days.
starts on a Saturday and ends Sunday evening. So better crowds because kind of Friday's slow. People are coming off of work and the last place they want to go is, well, for me,
Yeah.
I would be there on a Friday because I like hunting and fishing. But for some people, they're like, well, if I mow the yard, maybe I can get there on a Saturday because I can make the wife
Mhm.
happy, happy wife, happy life. But
Yeah.
yeah, what were you going to say about the next
Yeah,
one?
that expo is going to be busy. I was going to try and sneak up there, but I've got a million other things going on, as you can tell. And then on the 29th, we're going up to Tap Yard in Raleigh, which I know we're very excited about. They've been a great partner. They do a spring market every year. Well, they do it throughout the sunshine months, but they're kicking off their spring market on the 29th of March. So we'll be up there representing Take a Warrior Fishing. And then just after that, we're doing another profit share, which is one of my favorite places to do a profit share. It's Wrightsville Brewing Company or Wilmington Brewing Company. And they do a pint night for nonprofits, and they do $1 a pint for the whole night for nonprofits when you sign up there. So we're going to be doing a pint night at Wilmington Brewing Company. If you don't know Wilmington Brewing Company, it's the Tropical Lightning people. They make Tropical Lightning, which everybody knows and loves. So we'll be hanging out there first week of April or around there, which I'm very excited about. And then we kick off fishing season with all of our fishing events. So it's coming up quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's right around the corner. I know I got 2 spring breaks that I have to go through. I'm going to New York City with my daughter, who teaches
Yeah.
at a high school, so she needs a break. So we're going to New York City for whatever, and then after that, we're taking the boys down to the ocean, and we're going to do some deep sea fishing that I've already booked
Ooh.
in Wrightsville Beach, by the way. So it is going to
Well,
be
you'll have to let me know.
inter- Yeah, we're going to be down there. It's going to be fun, but it's all about going out. But don't think for a second I'm not bringing one of my T-shirts, my
Yeah.
jerseys, my business cards, because you know what? TAWF, INCs is representing. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And
absolutely.
there's
There he is.
Dwayne. Dwayne had a
Hey,
power
I'm
glitch,
back.
folks. We're going to be honest. Dwayne lives down by the ocean, and it was probably a big tidal wave that just hit his house, and so he lost power. But he is back with us.
I'm
Glad to have you
back.
back,
You
I don't
Dwayne.
know
know,
what happened. Thank you, thank you.
he has this thing he does every time I need something from him. He just dips out of here. Nope, nope, I'm busy. You take care
Yeah,
of it.
see ya.
That's right.
I'm out of here.
So we
Yeah.
just got done talking. Kayleigh was able to talk about all the upcoming profit sharing events that we have
Hmm.
for the month of March and the one in April. And we also talked about the upcoming expo in Greenville at the Mid Atlantic Hunting and Fishing. And yeah, exciting times. And we kind of like wanted to put the face with the name because people, I was telling Caleb before we started, a lot of people don't understand how much work is involved with the moving pieces that people don't see. All they do, we want them to do, and this is why we do what we do. We want them to show up to events, and we want it to be like a seamless process. We don't want hiccups, glitches. Go out there, have a good time. Let us worry about all this stuff behind the scenes so that you can have that good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of the fun of it sometimes too. It's like when you see a warrior's face light up after he caught his first fish, it's all worth it, right? All of the stress and the chaos and the calendar building is worth it. And I love to meet people, so profit sharing and prospecting businesses is very easy. It comes very naturally to me. But with that said, we are always looking for sponsors. I know one of our one of our big sponsors last year that donated was Mount Olive Pickles. And so I know people will be excited about pickles in their goodie bags again this year. So I'm also working on that, reaching out to local companies, community-based businesses, that want to represent, want to donate to the cause and volunteer or, whatever they can contribute. So I'll be working on that through the sunshine months as well.
That's right. So, Dwayne, are you still with us? I think Dwayne may be having some issues, which is cool because we're going to continue on. That's why we make an agenda.
Yep.
Because if not, we would just sit here all night, and some of the stuff probably doesn't need to be on the internet. Dwayne, how you doing?
Good old Spectrum Internet. That's all I can say.
All right. So,
Okay.
could you kind of talk to us about some of the upcoming events that we have between now and our first awesome kickoff event of the season?
Yeah, sorry if I repeat anything that Kayleigh said since my internet has been going in and out. I actually lost complete power in the internet. So this not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday, we'll have a booth at the Emerald Isle St. Patrick's Day Festival.
Mhm.
And we did the Emerald Isle Christmas Parade last year, which was pretty cool. And this is a festival that's very crowded, and I figured beer, boats, and military would be a good combination, and because this is a very patriotic area. So I'll be at that booth. And I think it's from 9 to 6 if you want to come out to Emerald Isle, though obviously it's St. Patrick's Day with beverages. I think there'll be bands, there'll be stuff for kids. It's in a parking lot of one of the local shopping centers. It's free to enter. or to come visit. We'll be raffling off a vacation to Nag's Head and a fishing trip, and I may actually raffle off a sunset cruise as well. Then the following weekend is the Greenville event. Then after that, I believe we'll be in Raleigh at the Tap Yard. I forgot, Kayleigh already mentioned it, but in Jacksonville, we've got March 13th Red Robin event. Let's see, what are we into now? March, and then April,
the calendar gets busy.
Yeah,
that's the calendar she sent 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, so actually, as we speak right now, Pete and Chelsea are at the Bassmaster Cumberland club meeting and doing what Ken did 2 days. Yeah, doing what Ken did 2 days ago with a different type of group. So within the last 7 days, since Saturday, so in the last 5 days, we've gotten in front of 3 different groups. Chelsea presented to a group that was at a cash and rod fishing school. It was about 50 participants. Ken presented to about 49, you said, Ken?
49 attendees.
Yeah, 49 in Greensboro, and then Pete and Chelsea are tag team and presenting to about 30 of the Bassmaster Cumberland group. So we're getting in front of a bunch of boaters because we need boaters to make it happen. And then April is our big, our first big event. We've got over 50 boats signed up right now. We'll be cooking, our chef will be cooking barbecue on site, serving barbecue and some sides. Yeah, we got a lot of nice prizes. Be at Jordan Lake, so pretty excited about the bass bite there. So, and looking forward to that. And then in May is the one I'm really excited about, and that's our saltwater event. Still working on some logistics and hopefully have some cool stuff that happen with that one. And some special guests come in and join us as we eat some great food there as well. It's going to be a seafood themed food for that event, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm sure I left something out. Yeah,
I'm sure I'll be adding more to the calendar anyway.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. So I am going to do a plug. I am going to do a plug for 26 calendar already. That we are going to have event. If whatever we have to do, we're going to have an event at Carr Lake next year. Just because it was such a hot commodity of request at the expo, and I'm going to be working with Tim Askew, and hopefully have a saltwater event near Bellhaven within 26 as well. So that'll probably trout only.
I got to ask a question, and I think Kayleigh may enjoy this banter. Is it Kerr Lake or is it Carr Lake?
It depends if you're in Virginia or North Carolina, is what I learned. So if you're in the northern part of the lake, it's Kerr. If you're in the southern part of the lake, it's Carr. So I'm from the southern part, so I'll say Carr.
Listen, we don't get into this argument in Wilmington because we have a Kerr or Carr Avenue, and it's a highly contested conversation when you're in Wilmington. So we just avoid it at all costs. We just call everything Market Street. Like, get me away from there.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm sure we'll have plenty more, like Kayleigh said. I'm sure we're going to have plenty more stuff that pops up. You all know we would do as many as we could. It's just our issue is time. If we had more time, we'd do more of it, and obviously cost. But if we had time, is our biggest evil right now. Is we just don't have a lot of time. We don't have enough time to do everything that we all want to do because we want to do it all.
Mm-hmm. We're going to start running fishing events on Tuesdays.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I do want to say one more thing. So apologize, I got cut off earlier, but I can't. I like I did Rich. I can't thank Kayleigh enough for everything she has done. I don't know if she said how she got connected, but Kayleigh reached out on social media, wanted to help, and the plan we had kind of got through for a loop with her job. But she still stuck with us, came to our event in November, and has just been knocking it out to the point I was apologizing because I was sending her so much stuff, and then now I'm to the point begging her to make sure she doesn't leave. So, Kayleigh, I can't thank you enough for what you do for us. It's funny to hear you talk because you don't like fishing, but you love helping folks get to fish. You're not military, but you got military in your family, and you support military 1,000%. So you're a perfect person. You don't have to be military to be on our board to be helping. You can be like Kayleigh. You can just be a person that wants to help and just go all out, and she does. She goes all out and helps us tremendously, and I can't thank her enough for what you do. So thank you, Kayleigh, for everything you do and everything you will do.
Thank you.
Look at you being sweet. No,
Yeah,
I
I
was
have
telling
to.
Ken earlier, I didn't come from a fishing family. I mean, other than growing up fishing as a kid, but I come from a military family and I come from military
Yep.
friends and a military community. And, that's from the time I was a little girl, that's always been, we give back and we step in and we step up for the military community whenever we can. And I have a particular set of skills. I'm an extrovert and I happen to know how to make flyers and social media. So whatever I can do to contribute, um, I'm gonna do it. So we got a jam-packed uh year for the rest of the year, all the sunshine months. But we're
Yep.
always looking to connect. I'm always up for networking and connecting. So anybody out there wants to connect or, get involved with profit sharing or volunteering or donating stuff for our pride packs and goodie bags, we are always open to any collaboration. So
And that was a
For sure.
great lead in to the next topic, which is how do I connect with Take a Warrior Fishing? So we have a Facebook page that is pretty extensive. It's always updating. We're always adding posts on there. Instagram, we have TikTok, and YouTube. And again, subscribe and like and comment. We need those. We need this information to get out. And if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, if you are a warrior and you're interested, all you got to do is sign up. We have all the links available on there. I mean, the website, I think to me is very, has all the information. It's very extensive.
yeah.
And it just takes a little bit of your time just to go on there and see who we are, what we're about. And more importantly, the gallery, just clicking on those photos and seeing those warriors catching those fish and the
Yeah.
smiles and the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. So it is time. And I always say it, I always lead in with that. It's so weird. Dwayne laughs. It is time
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
bad fish joke.
I'm so excited. I've been thinking about this bad fish joke for like 3 weeks. So
Oh, wow.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped about it. It's not going to be good. I am notoriously not a good joke teller, so I had to get something as simple as possible. And I'm not going to lie, I did phone a friend, my uncle. Well, uncle by proxy. I come from the family where your parents' best friends are your aunt and uncles. So my dad's best friend is the ultimate joke teller, and he sent me one today that I'm very excited about because it's timely. And so I'll say it, and I hope you guys will laugh because I thought it was hysterical. What does the Pope eat during Lent?
I don't know.
Bad considering he's in the hospital right now.
I know I felt bad, but it was relevant.
It is relevant.
What's
I don't
he?
know.
Are you down to tell us?
Holy mackerel.
We're all going to hell for laughing.
It's so
We are all.
bad.
What's
That's
more funny, the
good.
joke or her reaction?
That is funny. Holy mackerel, get it?
Get
Yeah,
it.
I
Got
get
it. That was
That was
good.
That was a good one.
Are
That
we
was better
gonna be
than
catching
mine.
that fish on the 17th? Is that is
So
that on the
not-
list?
Somebody could. So we got Spanish mackerel is on the list, and the trip that our offshore trip that just happened with sea legs called a king mackerel.
Yeah.
So
And a
See?
tuna.
they could. Yep.
Yeah,
Not only
big
was
old
my
tuna.
joke bad, it was hilarious and relevant. But I do have one more. Are you ready? This one you'll definitely laugh at. This is more warrior adjacent. I came prepared.
All right. Well, let's hear it.
Okay.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah, that was it. That was the whole thing. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to mess it up. Okay. I'm going to mess it up. There are two fish in a tank. What does one fish say to the other?
Holy mackerel.
No, dummy.
Pupper.
I don't know.
It says, do you know how to drive this thing? Stop it.
That's
Get
why
it?
they're bad
Tank.
fish jokes. That's
Not
why
a
they're
fish
bad
tank,
fish
but a
jokes.
tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. That's actually,
Yeah.
that's really good.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
I'm going to come on every podcast episode at the tail end and just deliver jokes.
I'm just going to
Please
say,
do.
because
No, that's
Dwayne
it.
just left me hanging last episode, but it's all right though, because we help each other out. So real quick, we're going to do sponsor shout outs. Dwayne, do we have anybody that
Yeah.
you want to do a sponsored shout out to?
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to our title sponsors that we have for all of our events. So North Carolina National Guard, North Carolina Army National Guard, Southern Harvest Catering, who does our food for our Warrior Fish event, Deep Creek Lures out of Dunn, and they also own Salty Baits, Salty Bay Baits, which will be helping us in May. Easy Bait and Tackle out of Goldsboro, which we'll be seeing them in Greenville coming up soon.
Oh yeah.
Josh Benton, State Farm insurance agent out of Holly Springs. Black Ops Tackle, who's owned by military folks. Cosmotology, that's the group that does all of our banners, all of our stickers, and did the wrap for our truck, for our trailer, and the boat. Topwater Company, that's the lure. I mean, that's the connection you were talking about in Greensboro, Ken. And then Seegars Fence out of Fayetteville was offered. He was one of the original board members who had stepped down, but still obviously a big part of our organization. He's been a sponsor since day one. And the last shout out, not necessarily a title sponsor, but does so much for us. He was on our show our last episode, Anthony and his wife. They had their first, we talked about her being pregnant. They ended up having a boy, I believe it was. They were expecting a girl and had a boy, I believe, or vice versa. I can't remember. But in the midst of all that, he had a birthday and did a donation on social media. He ended up sending us a big chunk of donation funds as he was dealing with his newborn. So congratulations, Anthony. And I forgot your wife's name, but congratulations on the newborn that came in since our last podcast.
Right. All right. Well, this is it. This is the end of our number 3. We're moving up. We got 80 views, 81 views since the first one. We had 33. It equates to close to over 9.5 hours of viewing time. And analytics, I like analytics because they tell the story. And we talked about this, Dwayne. I don't know if you remember, but we're going to try it our first time. Kayleigh, you can join in. But for those who are about to fish, we salute you. All right.
Sure.
Good night, everybody.
Nailed it.
Hey, thanks for the joke, Kayleigh. We'll see you.